Hello everyone, my name's Jane Johns and I work for Primary Industries Education Foundation Australia as one of the education officers. During today's session, I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the Farmer Time program and the ways it can be utilised within the classroom to provide really engaging cross-curricular learning experiences for students of all ages. So the Farmer Time program creates engaging and interactive food and fibre learning experiences by connecting classrooms with selected primary producers across Australia. Each of these online sessions has a curriculum focus, is targeted to specific year groups, and is supported by accompanying activities that relate to the literacy, science, mathematics, design and technology outcomes. These sessions can also support staff in addressing cross-curriculum priorities, such as sustainability, to enrich the learning experience. Farmer Time sessions are both pre-recorded for ease of implementation within the classroom and can be arranged as a one-on-one opportunity to chat live with farmers for a focused question and answer session. Since the commencement of the program, we've engaged with a total of 41 producers from across Australia and have connected with over 4,000 students to provide them with the opportunity to hear firsthand from primary producers from a diverse array of industries, including those listed here. Farmer Time sessions take place in 3 different formats: live, one-on-one, and pre-recorded. Live sessions are held as special events and are open to all schools to celebrate things like National Ag Week and National Science Week. One-on-one sessions take place between one class of students and a producer and offer students the opportunity for a live Q&A session with a farmer. Pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions are filmed by us on farm and are more of a virtual farm tour, providing students with an insight into a day in the life of a farmer and a visual understanding of the processes involved in agriculture. The Farmer Time program also encompasses our virtual incursion program, which is offered to students in years F to 6 across Australia. Each of the producer protected virtual incursions consists of a 30-minute live virtual lesson taught by an experienced producer protected team member, along with 2 pre-recorded lessons which are offered to teachers to complete with their class following the live session. All of these incursions are tailored to meet the specific needs of the school, linking with whatever unit of work they might be completing at the time. To find out more about the virtual incursion program, you can contact PIFA staff, or you can have a look on the Producer Protected website to explore the incursion overviews. The next element of the Farmer Time program is the curriculum resource development. The PIFA team develops curriculum-aligned learning resources to accompany each of the pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions filmed. These tasks link with many areas of the curriculum, including science, design and technologies, maths, literacy, and sustainability. I'm now going to show you a number of the features of the Producer Protected website to give you a bit of an insight into the resources available. This is the Producer Protected website. I'm just going to highlight a few of the features of the site and show you a number of the resources available. So the Producer Protected website houses all of our pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions along with accompanying learning resources. While the lessons and units of work here are designed for primary age students, they're easily differentiated to meet the needs of older students. So if we scroll down to our units of work, we can have a look at an example of one of our pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions and the way that this has been used to create a unit of work that's really comprehensive and cross-curricular to engage students of all abilities and all learning styles. So this Farmer Time session is accompanied by a farmer profile, which is used as reading comprehension, but also as a bit of a lead into the session to give students an idea of what they'll be listening out for during the session. We've then got our pre-recorded Farmer Time session here, which is centered around interdependence in an agroforestry and sheep production farm and explores the importance of biodiversity on farm. From there, we can have a look at our accompanying unit of work, which incorporates a unit overview along with 2 lessons with detailed activities and then resources to accompany each of these sessions. Each of these units of work is Australian and Victorian curriculum aligned. All right. Now returning to our homepage here, we'll just scroll up to the virtual classroom. So the virtual classroom essentially stemmed from acknowledging the challenges faced by trying to incorporate food and fibre into a really busy curriculum, particularly for primary age students, and it also sought to address the issue that was faced when we first implemented the program, which was that a lot of Australia was in lockdown and so practicing remote learning, but we also had students that were learning from the classroom. So we developed the virtual classroom as a tool to be able to be used within classroom or whilst learning remotely. So if I have a look at our years 3 to 4 section here, you can see that, for example, we've got our cool cauliflowers and groovy greens section. If you jump onto the student portal, these activities are designed to be worked through independently. However, again, they could be put on an interactive whiteboard and worked through as a whole class. There's audio instructions.
Click on one of the buttons below to read or listen
To support students who may not have the literacy to be able to read these independently. And then there's a series of activities accompanying video lessons as well.
Today we are doing a fruit and vegetable
So essentially, these activities are fairly grab and go. Students can sit on their own device and work through them independently, or they can be played and worked through as a whole class on an interactive whiteboard. Teachers can choose how they would like to use those activities, and each of them also comes with an accompanying teacher overview that describes each of the tasks and the curriculum links involved in the session. The Producer Protected website houses all of our pre-recorded Farmer Time activities and videos. So you can see here that we've got our 3 bands, so junior years, middle years, and seniors. Whilst these are grouped according to ages, all of the sessions have curriculum links and are really engaging and worthwhile. So if you were looking at incorporating a specific industry into your units of work and wanted to find a video on it, even though our mushrooms video is under the F to 4 section, it could definitely still be used in older years and would still be really engaging and applicable. The buttons that are blue were filmed on site and so can be used as virtual farm tours to be brought into the classroom and give students a really great insight into what it's actually like on farm. Now that you have a bit of an understanding of the Farmer Time program, we're going to hone in on one particular session and consider how it might be used in your classrooms. Georgia Beattie is an organic mushroom producer with a farm in Diggers Rest, which is only about 30 minutes from the city of Melbourne. Georgia was actually working in the tech industry before she developed Crohn's disease and decided she wanted to start producing organic food to tackle the need for more clean food, as she puts it. As you watch, I invite you to consider the ways that this session might be used within your classroom context.
Hi guys, welcome to Buller Park. So we are the largest organic mushroom farm in Australia. We supply customers like Coles and Woolworths, as well as the smaller independent grocers right around the country. So per week we do 10 tonne of mushrooms, and they're agaricus mushrooms that look like this. So that is about 60,000 of these. We grow white mushrooms and brown mushrooms, and the difference between these 2 products is only a matter of time. So a mushroom grows 1 millimetre an hour, and so they'll double in size. So we call these cup mushrooms, and we sell them in a punnet to the supermarkets, and it will look like this only a day later, which is quite cool. It's something I didn't realise. Initially I thought these were different mushrooms, but they're actually the same mushroom. It's just a matter of how long we leave them on the mushroom bed. So these mushrooms take 32 days to grow. So what happens is the compost arrives on site, it goes into our mushroom beds, and then on day 14 we begin picking, and we call that our first flush, our first harvest. And then a week later we pick the second flush, which is our second harvest. And then on the 32-day mark, what happens is the compost we push out of the roots, and then that goes into Bunnings and other sort of garden supply businesses. So it's really important that everything we do on the farm is sustainable, and there's another home for that the compost. So for every 1 kilo of mushrooms that are grown, there's about 4 kilos of compost that is there ready to grow more food on. So what we do is we give it to a garden supply company and they will then distribute to farms or sometimes into Bunnings to, you know, where you buy your sort of mushroom mulch. We are in the production area, so this is where all of the mushroom growing starts. The compost behind me has come from Bendigo, which is our other farm, which is about an hour and a half from here. And so this has taken 7 weeks to make. It goes through 3 phases of composting, where the last phase they inoculate the compost, which is basically putting mushroom seeds into the compost, so that when it comes down here, it's ready to grow. So we get 40 tons of this at a time, and they go into the rooms, which I'll show you what it looks like in there. So here we've got the compost. It's been loaded into the shelves. Basically what happens now is a layer of peat goes onto the top layer, and it's watered, and then we're ready to grow mushrooms. Okay, so what we're doing here is monitoring the temperature of the compost. So temperature is critical, as well as humidity and some other variables in the room, to replicate nature. So what we're doing is we have the room, the humidity and the compost at a certain temperature. And when we're ready to grow mushrooms, around the sort of 14-day mark, we trick it into thinking that winter's coming. And so what happens is the mushrooms then, as the temperature drops, they think, well, we better start fruiting to drop our seeds so that we can reproduce for the following season. And so that's basically what we replicate in a 32-day cycle here at the farm. So we check the temperature to make sure that we're really not getting, it's not getting too hot, and that the room at its ideal is about sort of 18 degrees. So after the compost has been put into the room, what we've got is a 32-day cycle. We are an organic farm, so we do 2 flushes. Some other farms do 3 flushes. We call a flush, which is a harvest basically, and that's where we pick all the mushrooms off the bend. So the compost goes in, and then on about day 14, we'll then begin to pick the mushrooms. So you can see here, we're on about day, so I think this is day 16. And so what we're doing is creating a bit of space so that the mushrooms can turn into portobellos. But we're also picking off smaller cups to go into punnets and some of the boxes. So what happens now is these will be picked off completely tomorrow, and then we'll have the second flush that will come in about sort of 4 days later. So you can see at our farm we grow 2 types of mushrooms. We call them agaricus mushrooms is the type. So we've got white mushrooms and brown mushrooms, and so you can see here we've got the brown mushrooms. And so these are the boxes that we pick into, as well as into the punnets. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about our punnets. It's really important that our packaging is environmentally friendly. So these are recycled, they're made from pulp, and so we want to reduce any sort of plastic and really as much packaging as possible to get it to the consumer. And that's sort of part of our philosophy at the farm. So you can see the brown mushrooms here. You might have a little look. So what we're doing here is spacing out the mushrooms so that these can turn into big portobellos for tomorrow. So we're the largest organic farm in the country, and most likely if you're getting an organic mushroom in Coles or Woolworths, it's one of ours and it's come from one of these beds. So we produce 10 tonne of mushrooms per week, which is a lot of mushrooms. That's about 60,000 of these. And so mushrooms, they don't sleep, they keep growing 7 days a week. So we make sure that we've got our harvest team that's staggered over a 7-day process. And that's how we keep on top of the harvest. You'll see these mushrooms have gaps in between them. And so what's going to happen in the next 12 hours is that these will double in size. And so the difference between this size mushroom and this size mushroom is really only 12 hours. So they will grow a millimetre an hour, which is incredibly fast. So it means that the harvest team have to be super clever with how they space on the beds, knowing that in the next 12 to 24 hours, it's going to be much bigger than where it is now. So my favourite thing about farming is that my day is really diversified. So I can be doing anything from driving a big loader, which is a big tractor sort of thing, to innovating in a kitchen, having a look at new products we could be making, to being hands-on with our staff. So we've got 45 people here on the farm, and another 40 up at the compost farm, and we employ fantastic, passionate people that really care about growing sustainable organic food. And so, I mean, they're the reason I turn up to work every day. There's a fantastic environment here on the farm. So I love that I'm not just sitting in an office. I can go sit in an office if I want to, but you know, that's not as fun. So it's hands-on, great people, and at the end of the day, you know, the organic industry only makes up a small percentage of total agriculture in Australia, but it's increasing. And so what we want to be doing is really contributing to that growth of that market, because this is a really sustainable product for Australia.
This session could be linked to an array of different curriculum outcomes across many different year levels. However, the resources that PIFA has developed to accompany this video are centred around the biological science and design and technology outcomes for years 3 and 4 students. The interactive 15-minute Farmer Time resource we've developed can be utilised as a whole class task projected on an interactive whiteboard or smart TV, or can be completed by students independently on their own devices. We're going to have a look now at that interactive task and explore some of the different features of the activities designed to support this Farmer Time session. As you can see here, we've got our farmer profile along with our Farmer Time session. Now, we also have a complete the sentence interactive activity, a drag and drop labeling task, and then video lessons for students to complete independently. So
today we're going to be exploring the features of mushroom by making a spore print. Spores are like the seeds from flowering plants, and they are released from the gills of the mushroom, which are located underneath the mushroom cap. When a mushroom is fully grown, it will begin to drop spores from its gills, which are picked.
I'll stop that video there. Now, that's just an example of the way that this Farmer Time session could be used within the classroom to support your students and engage them in a cross-curricular manner. We're now going to have a closer look at the video lessons available to support our pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions. So the video lesson that accompanies our Vic Farmer Time mushroom production session, along with the spore print creation, is a sustainable design challenge that students complete by designing their own sustainable packaging for mushrooms, similar to the one that Farmer Georgia uses when packaging and distributing her mushrooms. Let's have a look now.
Farmer Georgia talks about the importance of her packaging being sustainable and biodegradable. It can be pretty hard to find packaging that isn't made of plastic in supermarkets these days. Your challenge during this activity is to design your own sustainable packaging for mushrooms, just like Farmer George's. There are loads of different types of packaging that we can find in supermarkets, made of plenty of different materials. During this task, you need to think about the types of packaging that are recyclable or biodegradable, can be used again, and can hold up to 180 grams of weight. Have a look at the different materials that these different types of packaging are made of. Which of them do you think would be the most sustainable? Which of them do you think would end up in landfill or wouldn't be able to be used again? When creating your design, consider the design criteria. Can your design hold up to 180 grams worth of weight? Is it eye-catching, and does it make people want to buy your mushrooms? Is it sustainable? Can it biodegrade, be recycled, or be reused? And does it protect and keep the mushrooms fresh from harm? Before you start designing, think about the materials that you would like to use. Are they biodegradable? Could they be recycled? Would they break down? How well would they keep your mushrooms fresh and protected from damage? After considering your materials for design, use your design template to draw and label the different features of your design. I've had a think about the different materials that I could use, and I've decided to create a box made of recycled paper that's going to hold my mushrooms. Inside my box, to make sure that my container can hold up to 180 grams of weight, I'm going to pop some cardboard. I'm going to use an egg carton for this to make my box really durable and ensure that it can withstand the weight. Now, I'm looking at the materials I have before me and I'm wondering, how can I make my design eye-catching? Have a think about a name for your mushrooms or your mushroom farm, and then ways that you can make your design appealing for customers. Make sure that you label the materials that you're going to use. Paper, cardboard, and then take your materials and get cracking on creating your design. Now that you've completed your prototypes, return to your design criteria to check that you've met all of the criteria. Is your design eye-catching and appealing to customers? Can it hold up to 180 grams of weight? A good way to test this is by grabbing some mushrooms. I've got some delicious Buller Park organic mushrooms here. Let's see if my design can hold 180 grams of weight. Now, if you don't have mushrooms on hand, you can weigh out 180 grams of rice or sand or whatever you have at school, or you might have weights worth 180 grams that you can use to check. I'm going to lift up my box, check, check, check. Let's see if my design is durable. Pull my mushrooms in. What do you know? It can hold the weight. Now, I wonder if my design is sustainable. I know that I've used cardboard from egg cartons to make my decorations, to make my design eye-catching, and I know that cardboard is biodegradable. I know that recycled paper is also biodegradable, and I know that the egg carton that I've used for the bottom layer to reinforce my design is also biodegradable. So I think I can give myself a tick for sustainable. And the last one is, does it protect the mushrooms? Let's give it a bit of a shake. Let's check out my mushies. Looks good. All right, enjoy your sustainable mushroom packaging designing, and I really hope that we get to see your designs in supermarkets someday soon.
As you can see, there are a plethora of ways that these resources can be utilised to engage students and enhance their understanding of food and fibre production in Australia. The Mushroom Production Farmer Time session is utilised in conjunction with one of our virtual incursions, as well as the online resource available on the Producer Protected website that we've just explored. Many of the pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions available come with accompanying learning resources similar to this, with pre-recorded video lessons and downloadable worksheets and activities for students to complete either independently or as a whole class. Each of the resources on our website is Australian and Victorian curriculum aligned and can be differentiated to cater to different learning styles and abilities. To access this and any of our other pre-recorded Farmer Time sessions and accompanying learning resources, visit our website. There's also information regarding our incursion program and opportunities for professional development for teachers, along with one-on-one curriculum consultation with our education officers. Thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure working with you.